Hello, my name's Steve Jasper, aka the Jet Lag Guy, and welcome to my podcast, Whatever Happened to Baby Jet Lag?
Whatever happened with baby jet lag?
Whatever happened?
We'll find out. And I am the co-host, Arthur Chen, the chatty curator. Happy New Year, Steve.
Happy New Year. We're well into February.
Yeah, I know. But look, I mean, this is the...
So January, which don't count.
Exactly. Well,
Yeah.
actually, speaking of not counting January, I think there's an international star that want to not count his performance in Sydney for New Year's Eve.
Look, Robbie Williams. Look, he's been
Love
open
him.
with his mental health struggles, and he also struggled with jet lag. The poor man. And I don't know how some of them do it. A lot of them. There was one here who was out for the Logies. He spent more time on the plane than he did landing in Australia. And some years ago, Pamela Anderson flew to Australia for the weekend, as you do, to promote the green M&M, and she cancelled it, and she was just a mess. Again, jet lag. So
that's the thing. It's like when, particularly for like performers or international superstars, that they are like everyone's here to see them and they love them.
Yeah,
and
they get judged.
Yeah, and they got judged by that. So
yeah.
I think people that organize their travel, like for example,
need to factor that in.
Oh yes, and also,
well, yeah, I'm thinking of the late Meatloaf, who did a terrible performance at grand final, but again, could it have been jet lag? Because he was an amazing performer who's got an amazing catalogue of songs, starting with the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and then Bat Out of Hell, and he's got a great body of work. He had an off day, and I suspect jet lag might have been a factor in that. And people are judging him and remembering him for that one off occasion instead of this amazing body of work.
That's the unfortunate thing with the internet. Like, people take a clip with their phone and then suddenly they post it online, and that's the only thing they look at.
Yeah.
Even if they they just one show or even just one song in one show.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate. But oh well. But I mean,
so Robbie, we love you.
Love you.
Reach out if you need any help with your jet lag. I'll do it as a freebie for you, no problem.
Oh, we'll come to Australia for a tour. Then
Well,
he will
come
be
to
here
Australia, and look, if you do, I'm your guy for jet lag.
There you go.
Happy to help.
Steve, you had a book.
I have a book. Now, I had a previous book and the formatting was wrong. That copy has been banished, never to be seen again. I've got the formatting right in this, and it's just lovely. So I've written a book on jet lag, and I've written it for 3 types of audiences. So the first is, I just want the facts. Just tell me how. Each chapter has a summary, and so you can get the facts there. And I've put a list of the summary right at the end, so everything is there. So little, summary of each chapter, just bullet points, so you can get that very, very quickly. The second type of reader are the people who want to know that there are facts. So this is, actual, based in science. This is evidence-based. It's scientifically based. It's, not some nonsense like 5 a.m. Club. Don't look that slip. And so I've got academic references. You can look them up. You might even be able to access them if you've got access to them. But that's what I've done. So all of my points that I've made, I've supported them with evidence. And last type of reader, people who just want something to read. If you've got a 20-hour flight from Sydney to London, you pick this up and you've got some read. I've got little anecdotes and stories in there to make it a bit interesting, because it's not just dry facts.
I was about to say that your book is in human language.
It's in human. And look, all of the terms that I use, because I have to use technical terms.
Of course.
I have a glossary. I have a good friend of mine, Joanna, wave to her, said, what about people like me who need to know the meaning of the words? So I've made a glossary, things like DNA, circadian rhythm, all of those things have a little explainer, which I've just developed for them, so that, and I've put them all in italics, so if a word's in italics, go to the glossary and you'll find the meaning.
So with the glossary and the bibliography, that this book is actually a really good entry point for anyone interested to find out about jet lag.
Absolutely. It's written for lay people. So it's not written for chronobiology scientists. It's not written, for academics. It's written for...
what?
Exactly. People who study the circadian rhythm for their life's work. So it's not written for the academics. Of course, academics could read it, but it is written for the average person. And look, most business travellers, they know their stuff in their business. But if you're, say, a lawyer or an accountant or something, you're not going to necessarily know life science. So that's why I've made it accessible to anyone. You don't need an education to read this. You just need to be able to read.
Amazing. And one little more question. How are people going to find it?
On my website. So if you go to www.jetlagguide.com.au, go to the book and have a look there. You'll find it. And it's also, if you go straight to Amazon, you'll see this. So look for the maroon cover with the blue writing. That's what you will find. Print on demand. It's available. $17.77 US. And I think that's about $26 Australian. It will fluctuate with the currency fluctuation, but $17.77 US.
Nice, thank you. Steve, a couple of episodes ago we talked about traveling.
You talk about travel a lot here.
Yes.
Kind of goes with the territory.
Exactly. Well, international travel, but then it can apply to many people, like an average person like myself.
Absolutely. Well, I need work with average people. But some of the pitfalls of travelling, most of which, if you're in a big city, it's usually easy. There's usually a metro of some sort, a subway. So London, Paris, New York, San Francisco, they're fairly easy cities to get around if you've got access to a subway and usually going to a subway. However, you don't always go to a big city. I found one of my trips, for example, was to the village of Little Abingdon in Cambridgeshire. So, and that was finding, your way. I made my way to Cambridge easily enough, and then I had to find a bus and get off at Little Abingdon. And this was before we had smartphones with maps. So I was, I think, staying in Big Abingdon, and I was going to Little Abingdon. And you cross a little brook, and I got a hand-drawn map, a copy of a hand-drawn map.
It sounds like that UK TV, that BBC TV show, Travel Across the World. There are people that have to figure out how they go to the
Great
destination.
Race. Yes.
Yes.
It was a bit, and I'm wandering through. It was quite chilly, about 8 o'clock in the morning, and I took a wrong turn. I ended up at a brook, and it just dead ended. And I sort of made my way, did find a way across in the end. But it's if you think overseas travel is glamorous, it's not. And of course, the other thing is you don't have a sense of scale when you travel. So I was told about this great leather clothing district in Buenos Aires, and it was a short way on the map, so I walked there, which is not something I'd recommend. It was about 5 kilometres, and footpaths in Argentina aren't good. They have lots of potholes and cracks. You always have to absolutely watch where you're walking. You'll have these beautiful buildings in great shape, and the footpaths just a mess. So I did take the subterraneo back, and that was a lot easier.
That sounds like a good plan, and it's always good to plan in advance before you travel.
Plan as much as you can.
Yes.
And
including
pay attention to maps.
Oh yes, and also including be aware of your chronotype and your potential jet lag.
Well, absolutely being aware of your chronotype, and stupid things like I woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning my first night in Buenos Aires, and I decided to go for a walk. Not a smart decision.
Why?
Because I had a head full of jet lag, and I decided, yes, wandering the streets in the middle of the night in a city where I don't speak the language is a really good idea.
Well, that was a sign that you were not planned it, but obviously you are much better planned it.
That was not a smart decision. Yes. I did survive. I did get offered the services of an attractive woman with a moustache, but no. That's a no. That's a no.
That's a no. Yeah. Well, and thank you for this episode, and of course, remember the jetlagguide.com. .au. Sorry about that. And jetlag.com.au.
Jetlagguide.com.
Jetlag. Oh, jeez. You need to cut that bit out.
Jetlagguide.com.au.
Yes, remember jetлагguide.com.au. That's the. Thank you.